This post is about how meaning and ideology are communicated in a magazine cover. So first, it's important to understand what the terms mean. Ideology is a phrase that's to do with thoughts and opinions. So discovering what the viewpoints of the editors, the producers of a magazine are, and how those viewpoints are communicated through their choice of language, through their choice of media language, through their choice of representation within the cover. So first, it's important to look at a bit of the background. So as you can see below, I've chosen to look at Shape magazine. Shape magazine is a monthly magazine that was first launched in 1981, founded by a woman called Christine McIntyre, who was a real pioneer of women's free weight fitness. And it very swiftly became women's #1 fitness magazine in the US. But at that time, the production company called Vida Enterprises consisted primarily of kind of bodybuilding, muscle and fitness magazines. And there was a bit of an argument between McIntyre and Vida, who runs the publishing company, about how they should represent their ideologies within the magazine. So Vida thought actually it should be less journalistic, more kind of commercial, what sort of things would a mass audience want, whereas McIntyre, as she'd come from a sports and training background, she wanted it to be much more academic, scientific, doctor-based. And Vida also wanted a much more sexualised magazine, much more kind of editorial, male gaze idea, whereas McIntyre wanted it to be about healthiness as opposed to sexiness in the copy and in the magazine. My research said that McIntyre largely won that battle. However, in the cover below, I'm going to argue that actually there's quite a lot of ideology about how women need to be sexy to be seen as attractive, and that that's a goal and a role model we should be aiming towards. So, I would say that Shape's ideology, to sum up in one sentence, would be that in order to be attractive, you need to be young, you need to be thin, and you need to be sexy. And the important parts are to be these three things so that you are attractive to men. So let's first deal with the idea that the ideology that in order to be attractive you need to be thin. So the largest word on the left hand side of the magazine is the word fat, under the main cover line, blast belly fat. Because it's the largest word, it also draws our attention to it, and therefore would be kind of something that would draw in an audience's eye, and the idea that we need to blast belly fat, that it's something negative that we need to fight, is part of the ideology that they portray to a reader, this idea that you need to be thin, you cannot have fat on your body. On the right hand side we have the cover line, walk your way slim. So the use of the word slim implies that that's something we're aiming for, we want to be thin, and the direct address of the word your creates it to be a demand, to be a command to the reader. So it's not a should you walk your way slim, it's walk your way slim. And the fact that it's your creates this, what I would call a conceptual binary opposite, the difference between us at the magazine who are slim, are attractive, are role models to you, and you who need to be slim. The sub cover line underneath that says drop 5, 10, 30 plus pounds. Again, it's a direct command. It's not a you could lose, it's drop 5 pounds, drop 10 pounds, drop 30 or more pounds. And this command immediately communicates the ideology that in order to be attractive you should be thin. Both of these cover lines are in white text, the connotations of the colour white being good, so implying that in order to be good, in order to be successful, in order to be attractive, you need to blast belly fat and be slim. The skyline across the top says summer meals that won't blow your diet. It doesn't use the word to improve your health or anything like that. It uses the word diet. The connotations of the word diet is eating less, being slim, So that choice of word is interesting. And also, best fat-burning breakfasts. So again, we're using the negative word fat, echoing what we see in the main cover line across the top. And again, this is in white text, going back to my previous talk of connotations of positivity, that these are positive actions that you should be doing. We also have the phrase thinner thighs. We've got the alliteration of the T's, thinner thighs. So again, that's a suggestion that is something that Shape magazine supports, that you should have thin thighs. This is in yellow text, so the connotations of yellow is a very sunny, positive, bright colour. It's also the same colour as the bikini that Jada Pinkett Smith, the model in the main image, is wearing, who is also slim. She has thin thighs. I would say actually the main image looks photoshopped to me. Although she is thin, the lighting on her face and her body don't seem to match to me. So that suggests that the image has been mediated, that the image is not purely as it is. So I would imagine that she has been tucked in. The words "walk your way slim" are by her nipped in waist. Also, the positioning of the model on the side makes her seem thinner, because we're not seeing her side to side, yet we're seeing her in profile. And the words thinner thighs are by her thighs in the main image. The masthead itself, the word shape is tall and the letters are thin. So again, that's communicating this thin ideology, that in order to be beautiful, Shape believe that you should be thin. It also, another ideology is the idea that you need to be young. So we've got 3 cover lines that reference age negatively. So at the bottom of the left hand side we have the cover line "sneaky spots that age you." So the idea of the word sneaky is quite negative, the idea that it's deceptive, it's misleading. So it portrays this idea of age in a negative light, and the idea that it ages you. So it's a judgment on the reader that we are being aged, and that's something we shouldn't want. The connotation of this is that being older is something that's negative. This cover line is in red. The connotations of red are this idea of danger, things that we need to watch out for, things that we should avoid. So being aged is something we should avoid. On the anchorage text to the main image, "fitter than ever at 37!" exclamation mark. Implies that the age is a negative factor to health, and she has subverted that even though she is older at, gasp, 37, that she has managed to overcome this age to still miraculously, because of the use of the exclamation mark, be attractive. And the third thing is in the strap line across the bottom, plus "turn back the clock!" exclamation mark. It's an exclamation, it draws our attention there. It's a bold statement, the use of that punctuation. The age fighting habits to start, capital letters, today. So this idea of the age fighting, we've got this connotation of battle, of war. We also have that in the cover line, "blast belly fat." It's the idea that it's combat, that you need to fight against these negative things. The kind of warlike words suggest this idea of an enemy, and this ideology that being old or being aged or an advanced age is an enemy, is something we should be avoiding. The third ideology that I wanted to talk about was this idea that in order to be attractive you need to be sexy. So the cover line on the bottom right hand side, "stress-free sex," implies that readers should want that. They should want stress-free sex, the idea that they should want to be sexually attractive and they want to be sexually active. So it's pushing forward the ideology that you need to be sexy and sexual. The idea under the anchorage text, Jada Pinkett Smith, 7 moves that got her this sexy and sculpted, this all in capitals. The idea of this sexy positions her as aspirational, that we should want to be this sexy as she is. And we have this, again, conceptual binary opposite of her our role model, our aspirational figure, and us. We should want to be this sexy. We should want to be as sexy as she. The image itself is interesting. So it absolutely conforms to Mulvey's male gaze theory, saying that the media we see is filtered through the lens and the view of a heterosexual male. Now, interestingly, this magazine's target audience is not male. This magazine's target audience, as a women's fitness magazine, is for women. And yet, we see the male gaze within it, because that implies that we should want to appeal to the male gaze. We want to look like her, fit, young, despite being 37, and sexy. This sexy. It positions her as an aspirational role model. So, to sum up, the three ideologies that Shape, I feel, portray within this magazine cover are the idea that women should be thin, young, and sexy. So these are the ideologies of Shape magazine communicated in this cover.